Welcome to Speak Up and Stay Alive RadiOh with author, speaker, and your host, Pat Rouleau. Finally, someone willing and able to blow the top off hidden healthcare and hospital dangers. She's provocative, upbeat, balanced, fearless, fresh. Pat has over 20 years of experience as a professional public speaker and knows how to approach this important subject with enough humor and wit to keep you informed, entertained, and empowered. Each week you will say, "Oh," as Pat explores and exposes little-known hospital hazards, delves into the deep waters of dangerous healthcare practices, picks the brains of her good-looking and influential guests to help keep you and your family safe in today's fragmented healthcare system. The program is not intended to replace medical advice from a licensed professional, but rather to encourage you to become a well-informed participant in your health and well-being. And now, your host, Pat Rouleau.
Hello, I'm Pat Rouleau, and I will be your hostess, your one-stop patient safety radio hostess, where I will spend the next hour serving you a generous helping of everything you need to know to help you and your loved ones stay safe during any doctor or hospital visit. People ask, who are you? Who am I? I am you. I am every person who has ever been in a hospital or doctor's office and has received less than acceptable treatment. I am you, the person who got an infection during a simple outpatient procedure. I am you, the patient whose questions are ignored, who struggles to speak to the doctor as he or she has one foot out the door. I am the missed heart attack, the hospital-acquired infection, the wrong diagnosis, the unanswered call button. I want this patient safety show to be about you, your family, your friends, and your loved ones. Speak Up and Stay Alive, RadiOh. Yes, that is OH with an exclamation point. Will cause you to say oh, as each week we delve into little-known hospital and healthcare dangers. I think when you understand why something happens, you're better equipped to do something to change it and prevent it from happening to you. If enough people begin to speak up, together, each of us can alter the current precarious path of today's unsafe healthcare practices. Today, it's Grandparents' Weekend, a time to celebrate all of the special ways a grandparent makes a difference in your life. And if you're looking to make a difference in that person's life, tell them about this radio program. Make plans to visit with them and listen to the show together. Or if you're long distance, you can listen via the internet, then call each other to talk about what you learned. Make this program a reason to have a weekly grandparent chat or a get-together. I can't think of anything better than time spent together talking about important issues that affect every family. And the program is always posted on our website after it airs, so with a click, you can listen to today's program and all the past ones too. So with that, happy Grandparents' Day to all of our listeners. And now, let's continue with more life-saving tips and tools because it's time for the healthcare hazard of the week. Cat scans. No, guys, not that kind of cat. People are crazy here. I received a phone call from a listener a few weeks ago, and she told me how she was unnecessarily burned by a CAT scan at a freestanding clinic. She received 5 CAT scans within a short period of time that has left her thyroid compromised, despite the fact that she asked the technician for a thyroid shield who refused to give it to her. She called and asked that I look into this and perhaps talk about it on the show. So what exactly is a CT or a CAT scan, sometimes referred to as computerized axial tomography, CAT, C-A-T? The CT scan is a medical tool for the diagnosis of disease, trauma, or abnormality in patients with signs or symptoms of disease. It's used also for planning and monitoring therapy. What's new and dangerous, though, is that these scans are being marketed as a preventive or a proactive healthcare measure to healthy individuals who have no symptoms of disease. Many of these locations are freestanding facilities that market to health-conscious or fearful people, whom I call the worried well, and they use this technology to take a look at people's insides, and promise early warnings of cancer, cardiac disease, and other abnormalities. So what's the problem with that? Because the FDA does not regulate how CT scanners are used or set dose limits, different centers end up using an array of radiation doses, some of which seem unnecessarily high. Couple that with the fact that many people receive unnecessary CT scans and, along with them, unneeded doses of radiation. According to findings published in JAMA Internal Medicine, 1/3 of people getting a CT scan did not know that the test exposed their body to radiation. More people reported having thought about when they could eat or whether their parking would be validated after the test than about the effects of radiation. And then we have some unscrupulous practices that pay for their machines and pay themselves high wages with these money-making scans. On the other side, physicians do walk a fine line between too much care and too little care. There certainly is an atmosphere of paranoia that exists. Let's order the scan just to be sure. Be sure of what? That you don't get sued for not ordering the scan? Malpractice concerns are a driver of unnecessary scans. I'm sure of that. By now, we know that radiation is all around us, and it's the cumulative effect we need to concern ourselves about. Americans today are exposed to 7 times more radiation from diagnostic medical imaging tests than they were 30 years ago, thanks to the overuse of X-rays, CT scans, and mammograms. And CT scans are the biggest culprits, delivering as much as 500 times the radiation of a standard X-ray. So the question is, how much radiation is too much? Well, 1 CT abdomen scan equals 234 chest X-rays. If you have a single full-body CT scan in your life, your risks are very minimal. Maybe 1 out of 1,200 would die of radiation-induced cancer. However, if you're doing this type of screening on a regular basis, then the radiation doses add up and the risks become quite high. The radiation dose of 1 full-body CT scan is close to the doses received by Japanese survivors of atomic bombs, and each successive CT scan adds up to more exposure. And here's something I never gave any thought to. CT scanners are designed for people of an average build and an average weight. When obese patients require a CT scan, the additional layers of body fat will produce blurry images if the scanner's regular settings are used. Technicians typically address this problem by turning up the power of the scanner. Unfortunately, doing so results in overweight patients receiving higher than normal doses of radiation. That's kind of scary. And according to research, obese men's internal organs receive an average of 62% more radiation than those of average weight men during a typical CT scan. And for women, the figure is 59%. In either case, although the increased exposure might not amount to much for just 1 session, it could definitely add up over the course of multiple scans. And then, what about these type of scans for children? In a study published in June 2013 in JAMA Pediatrics, it was found that children exposed to radiation from CT scans potentially had double the risk of developing cancer later in life, as well as an increased risk of leukemia. So, what questions should we be asking, since many times our providers do not discuss the radiation risks with us? Well, first, ask why the CAT scan is necessary and what the doctor hopes to learn that can't be learned via another diagnostic source. Ask, how will having this exam improve my care? Then ask, are there equally good alternatives, such as ultrasound or MRI? They don't emit radiation. Also, if you need a CT scan and you weigh less than 180 pounds, your doctor may be able to decrease the radiation dose. Then I would check out the clinic or hospital ratings by the American College of Radiology. I would also ask my provider about the technician's training. According to a talk on May 10th, 2013, at the virtual symposium on radiation safety and computed tomography, they said, quote, "Right now, there are only 4 known CT programs in the country where somebody could go and take a CT course and get the clinical competencies. 95% of CT techs who are performing CAT scans get their training on the job," unquote. And I say, I wouldn't want an on-the-job trainee zapping me without adequate training and experience. Also, be sure to request a shield to protect your breasts, reproductive organs, and thyroid. Wear a thyroid guard and lead apron during dental x-rays. Recent research suggests that repeated exposure may be linked to thyroid cancer if patients aren't properly protected. And you can also ask whether you can receive a digital x-ray which uses less radiation. And here's one: if you're pregnant, just say no. And ask even more questions, especially if it's your child prepared to get a CAT scan. Also, keep a record of your CT scans. Give a copy to your doctor and get a digital version of your completed scan to give to other physicians so you don't have to repeat the scan. And ask your doctor, can you use the older test result? Let your doctor know if you've received any imaging at another office or hospital within the past maybe 5 years. He or she may be able to re-examine the results and spare you another round of radiation. And lastly, be wary of freestanding clinics that offer virtual full body scan checkups as a strictly preventative measure. From a website of specialists who tout the virtual checkup, the full body scan delivers not much more radiation than your total annual radiation exposure from natural causes, unquote. And I say their scan delivers not much more radiation than your total annual radiation exposure from natural causes. This says nothing. What does not much more radiation mean? And in a millisecond, I will receive more than an entire year's worth of radiation? I'm not going there. Oh, but they also have gift certificates and corporate outings. Bottom line, folks, CAT scans are definitely important diagnostic tools given the proper set of circumstances. I'm not saying do not have a CAT scan. I am saying be sure you know why you are getting one. Ask the right questions. And please, if you're looking to send me a gift, don't send a gift certificate for a virtual full body scan. And with that, let's hear some legal news you can use. We received a question from a listener, and I think it best that we get the right answer from our friends at Schraff & King, located in Willoughby Hills, Ohio. So let's get Allison McMeechan on the phone.
Schraff & King, this is Allison.
Hi, Allison. It's Pat from Speak Up and Stay Alive Patient Safety Radio. We have a quick question for you. Do you have a moment?
I sure do, Pat.
A gal that just called, her name is Hurt and Mad Mary. She left her phone number and asked that we get right back to her. So let's give her a try. Eric, can you get her on the phone, please?
Hello?
Hi, this is Pat Rouleau, Speak Up and Stay Alive Patient Safety Radio. You had just called with a question for Allison McMeechan, our guest today from Schraff & King.
Who?
Mary?
You got the wrong number, honey, and I'm not married today. I'm crabby. Sorry, bye.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, let's just continue. Do the folks at Schraff & King take medical malpractice cases?
Yes, we do, Hurt and Mad. Our practice is generally speaking considered an elder law practice. So we handle estate planning, which would include advance directives and financial powers of attorney, wills and trusts. We handle guardianship matters, long-term care planning, Social Security disability, medical malpractice, nursing home negligence cases. So we can certainly assist you if you need some assistance.
Okay, and good. And how would folks go about reaching you?
You can contact us at 440-585-1600. We also have a website. It's www.schraffking.com.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your excellent advice. I'm happy to share you with our listeners.
Thank you. I'm happy to be shared.
If you have a question for Allison or the friendly folks at Schraff & King, give them a call at 440-585-1600, conveniently located on Somme Center Road, just south of Route 6 in Willoughby Hills, Ohio, or visit them online at schraffking.com.
I'm Jerry the Germ, here to spread healthcare and hospital safety tips all over the airwaves. Here's our expert, Pat Rouleau.
Hey, Jerry. I bet you and your germ friends just run and hide whenever you hear the happy birthday song. What do I mean? Oh, yeah. People are finding out that the best way to disinfect their hands is to use good old-fashioned soap and water and a lot of friction. And they know that 15 seconds of scrubbing will do the trick. How long is 15 seconds? Long enough to sing or hum the happy birthday song. And long enough to scrub not only the palms, but the tops, sides, in between the fingers, and under the nails. And when folks go to the doctor's office or hospital, they're asking their providers to wash their hands too. Yep, everyone's humming the happy birthday song just to get rid of you. For more patient safety tips, visit speakupandstayalive.com. Sorry, Jerry, but you're going down the drain.
Listen to Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. For more information, go to speakupandstayalive.com.
Brought to you by Generation America, the smart and traditional 50-plus membership organization. And they provide a full range of benefits to members. If you're looking for quality Medicare supplement, their rates are lower than the other 50-plus organization 3 out of 4 times. Generation America. To join and to find out more, visit generationamerica.org.
You're listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive, Patient Safety Radio. I am your hostess, Pat Rouleau, and I have to say that one of the nicest of guys is here today. He's Darrel Hicks. You hear him each week on the Cleveland shows. He is the Director of Environmental Services and Patient Transport in a 500-bed hospital outside of St. Louis, Missouri. To our listeners, he's better known as the author of the book, Infection Prevention for Dummies, and he and I just love to talk about things like hand hygiene, clean hospital rooms, and cross-contamination. We've become fine friends, and in fact, I think he may be my brother from another mother. It's always fun and informative when you're here, so welcome to the show, Darrel.
Thanks, Pat. I always look forward to this time that we have together and being able to share some insights with your listeners, and hopefully they're as big a fan of mine as I am of you and yours. So
we just love having you on the show. I know that you are responsible for 1.2 million square feet of cleanable healthcare space on a daily basis. Add to that a patient transportation department, and I bet you have some interesting and exhausting days.
Exactly. That's nearly 20 acres under roof, and we clean it every day and have outstanding outcomes when it comes to infection prevention and patient satisfaction, because patients expect and deserve a clean and germ-free as much as possible environment while they're in the hospital. So it's a challenge every day, but I think we do a very good job.
Your hospital has won awards year after year, right?
Yes, it's about 6 years in a row now that we have won a Top 50 Hospitals in America award. So it's one thing to win it once, but when you win it 6 years in a row, that is pretty exceptional.
Can you share the name of the hospital?
It's St. Luke's Hospital in Chesterfield. We serve an area of probably 60 to 70,000 citizens here in the St. Louis area.
Well, we have some interesting emails for you today. We sent out a request for our listeners to send you their most pressing questions, and so if you're ready, we've got some good ones.
Okay.
All right, today we're going to start off with a couple of restroom questions, and we call this restroomology.
Okay.
I understand, Darrel, that the Mayo Clinic has a new white paper that talks about the difference between hand-drying methods, and this blends well with the email we received. Becky in Maryland wrote, Pat, please ask Darrel about a disagreement I'm having with my daughter. She says in a public restroom it's best to use the air dryer, and I say it's cleaner to use the paper towels.
Whenever I use the air dryers in restrooms, first of all, there may be 3 sinks and 1 dryer, and you got 2 or 3 people washing their hands, and I'm always conscious of holding someone else up, so I kind of stand there and get close, and then I wind up walking out wiping my hands on my pants. So that's frustrating to me, and this study says that paper towels do a better job of drying your hands and therefore don't allow for the things that weren't necessarily killed to grow, because, you and I have talked about how long we ought to be washing our hands in order to really do a thorough job of removing the soil, and along with the soil goes all the the bad guys. And if we don't remove everything, if we do one of those 5 to 7 second hand washes, then there's stuff left on our hands. And dryers are only going to get them to a semi-dry state, and then you walk out, and it gives those germs a warm environment of your skin to multiply, under your rings, under your watch. I think that the paper towels do a better job of drying your hands, and with that friction of a towel on your moist skin, the towel has a better chance of removing the soil, and with that, the bad guys. And that's what the study at the Mayo Clinic revealed too, was that, they cultured people's hands after using hand dryers, blowers, and also after paper towels. And people's hands with the same 10 to 15 second hand wash, hands were more germ-free with paper towels than with blowers.
Well, that makes good sense. If someone only washes their hands for 7 seconds, their hands aren't clean, and now you have that blower that blasts at the speed of sound. Is that actually blowing the germs around the restroom?
Not only blowing them around, but sucking air from the restroom through the blower. And restrooms are just petri dish of E. coli, salmonella, and other organisms that it may pick up from the floor. They have to supply a pretty large volume of air, so they're pulling the ambient air from the restroom that's loaded with things that are unsavory at best, that then is blowing on what you consider your clean hands. And then I've always got the issue of whenever I get to the door and I've got to grab a hold of the door handle to get out, what do you use whenever you have used an electric blower? We station a trash can near the door so that people who take the paper towel with them to the door open the door, and then they can throw the paper towel away, and they haven't perhaps recontaminated their hand from the 40 to 50% of people that don't even wash their hands after using restrooms.
Absolutely. Here's my restroomology tip. When I enter a restroom and see those blowers, I then grab a bunch of toilet paper, stick it under my arm, and use that to wipe my hands after I wash them. But then that always leaves little bits of toilet paper on my hands, so be sure to pull off enough, I guessed, for 2 hand wipings and enough to open the door with. Well, that's excellent advice. It looks like Becky in Maryland won the argument with her daughter.
Okay.
All right, we have another. Let's see. Okay, we have Sam the Traveler asks, I travel quite a bit for my business and therefore encounter some nasty restrooms. Should I be fearful to even enter?
I first think about the management or the leadership in that facility, that building, and their perspective of customers' expectations, because I think that everyone expects and deserves a clean restroom. And then you think about the employees of that restroom, and I always want to add something to those signs on the back of the door as you exit the restroom. Employees must wash their hands before leaving. Why not everyone?
Yeah.
I'd like to add everyone must wash their hands before leaving the restroom. And one of my keen indicators of the dirtiness of restrooms is when you smell the air freshener 10 feet before you get to the restroom, that they're trying to cover up what cleaning ought to do, and that's to remove the soil. And so if employees are using those restrooms, then I've got to wonder, what does the kitchen look like, or what does the operating room look like?
Right.
We judge, I think a lot of people know the difference between clean and dirty. So, we make judgments about the quality of care, that grandma's getting up on the 5th floor if the restroom is dirty in the main lobby. I think that it becomes a benchmark for businesses, and especially hospitals, restaurants, those places that ought to be sanitary, and we can eliminate the possibility of illness whenever those who use the restroom have clean facilities and adequate supplies. Then whenever a restroom is cleaned, there's not much need for these heavy perfumed deodorizers. So if you smell those, then you can expect a less than clean environment there in the restroom.
Oh, there you are.
Here's a final one. Slim Jim wants to know, if I see workers behind the counter or people in the restroom who are breaking the clean hands code, should I say something? Would you? And if so, what would you say?
I would ask to speak to the manager because they are putting people's health in jeopardy. I was talking to my wife earlier this week, and she said that one of the employees at her work had a stomach flu for the this past weekend. I said, there is no such thing as the stomach flu. And she said, yes, there is. I said, there's a stomach virus, but the flu is always a respiratory condition. And for all my adult life, I hear people talking about getting the stomach flu when in actuality it's probably a foodborne illness that they got from food that was not prepared properly or unsanitary conditions. Those people who serve it, and I've been to restaurants and the workers behind the line are all wearing their plastic gloves, their vinyl gloves and preparing food. And then you see the person walk over and run the cash register and handle dirty money. And then so you have to be aware of what they're touching. And I would go and ask to speak to the manager and tell them what I've observed. The health department needs to enforce those rules, but it's hard for them to be everywhere. And so the public's health is in jeopardy when food service workers don't take the proper precautions to keep clean hands and or clean gloves. And you should never see people handling food with their bare hands. But the converse of that is don't use dirty gloves to handle food either.
I think we all have a false sense of security when we see gloves. And I've personally contacted the local health department whenever I see less than appropriate hand washing or glove use, especially if I see it at the same place repeatedly. Well, Darrel, so much interesting and informative bathroom talk today. We call it restroomology, and I want to talk about hospital rooms and cleaning, but we'll have to save that for another time. Well, before you go, Darrel, where can we find out more information about you and what you do, and where can everyone order your book?
It's www.darrelhicks.com, DARRELHICKS.com. My number is 314-956-1177.
So, Infection Prevention for Dummies is a free 48-page pocket-sized handbook. I know I learned a lot from your book, Darrel, and discovered the miracle of cleaning with microfiber. Now I clean my home like a hygiene specialist. So I encourage everyone listening to get this free book. There's a small shipping and handling charge, but for a free book loaded with this kind of information, it's a must-have book, folks. And if you need more copies, Darrel offers discounted bulk rates as well. Am I missing anything, Darrel? Any final words of advice?
I think that everyone needs to know, how things get spread and how best to protect you and your loved ones from possibly being a victim. But cleaning plays a very important role in all that, and I hope that people will get the book and understand that.
Oh, and Eric has something to say.
By the way, I'd like to thank Darrel for addressing the hand dryer question. I hadn't really heard much in detail about that.
Thanks, Darrel, for teaching us some valuable restroomology.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know for just every day.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your years of experience with us today. We just love having you on the show.
Thanks, Pat. I like being here, and thanks for inviting me, and thanks for the work that you do in keeping people safe.
Thanks. On this show, we talk about the need for a patient advocate during every healthcare or hospital encounter. But advocacy also includes whom you rely on when it comes to health insurance. Listen while I spend the next 2 minutes with Chris Alberta, the Medicare Supplement partner with Generation America, as we discuss the importance of choice. Chris, can you tell us how are you and Generation America different when it comes to choosing a Medicare Supplement plan?
They're doing something, Pat, that is really unique. As opposed to looking for an opportunity to hook up with one carrier or a company with a couple of products, what they said to us was, how can we offer everybody who's a member of our organization basically a menu? Many people don't know this. Is all these Medicare plans, most of them are exactly the same coverage. The only difference is the price that you pay. We work with probably upwards of about 50 different programs and carriers around the country, which is most of them. And Generation America hooked up with us and said, listen, how can we show our members every single program that's available in their zip code and then really break it down according to age and price so they never end up overpaying? All of the reps that work for us have been licensed and trained in this kind of work, and most of them have worked in the field, Pat, actually at the kitchen table with folks. So they're not just, like a sales bank somewhere. They really care what you get, and we pay them exactly the same either way, which is cool because there's no incentive to ever recommend one product or one company over another.
That is great to know. People need choices, and they need to feel safe when they make those choices. Well, thank you for spending the time to clarify Medicare supplements with us today, Chris.
No problem, Pat.
Remember, folks, Generation America is on the right side for seniors. For more information or to join, visit generationamerica.org.
Here's your Speak Up and Stay Alive moment with Pat Rulo, your healthcare navigation hostess, serving you a generous helping of everything you need to know to help you and your loved ones stay safe during any doctor or hospital visit.
To avoid dangerous drug reactions, you have to take charge. Here's a little-known resource, your pharmacist. A pharmacist is trained in all things drug-related. And here's a smart idea. Get all of your medications from the same pharmacy. Why? Because that way your record is in one central location. Many of us see several doctors, and each doctor may prescribe a medication that unknowingly might conflict with current prescriptions. When all prescriptions are filled at the same pharmacy, the pharmacy's computer system will flag any potential unsafe interactions, and your pharmacist can question it and bring it to your attention. If, however, you use multiple pharmacies, there will be no continuity of care. So stay out of harm's way. Make friends with your favorite pharmacist.
Listen to Pat Rulo and Speak Up and Stay Alive RadiOh. Stay safe from little-known healthcare and hospital hazards. To learn more, go to speakupandstayalive.com. That's speakupandstayalive.com.
You are listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. I am your hostess, Pat Rulo. So happy to spend this hour with you to help you survive any healthcare or hospital encounter. Today, you are lucky enough to experience our new favorite game, inspired by Bob. Thank you very much.
Shocking news from around the world.
Here's how this game happens. I will read a healthcare-related statement. Bob and Jeremy will use their keen sense of reasoning to decide if the statement is true, or as we call it, a shock, or is it false? We call it a crock. So is the statement a shock?
Wow.
Or a crock?
Oh.
You ready, guys?
Let's go.
Let's do this.
All right. Let's Speak Up and Stay Alive. Shocking news number 1. Last year, a Colorado man won $7 million in a lawsuit after eating 2 bags of popcorn every day for 10 years. Is that a shock or a crock?
I hope it's a crock.
Oh, no, that's a shock.
Okay. It is true, and it is a shock.
Wow.
Jeremy, it's called popcorn lung.
Really?
Popcorn lung refers to a potentially fatal respiratory disease that develops in workers at flavoring plants who inhale diacetyl, the chemical that provides the flavoring and the buttery smell in popcorn. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So on other things too, do we think, or is it just popcorn?
Well, wherever that flavoring is, that diacetyl flavoring, yeah.
Oh, goodness.
So personally, I only buy 100% organic popcorn. Again, folks, read the labels. Hey, guys, is this fun or what?
I'm liking this one.
All right, the Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking news number 2. According to a study by researchers at Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University, up to 1 in 5 people on antibiotics stop taking their full course of antibiotic therapy due to diarrhea. Is this a shock or is it a crock?
What do you think, Bob?
I'm going to say it's a crock.
I'm going to agree, crock.
Oh, Oh, no. This is shockingly, it's a true statement.
Wow.
Antibiotics target bad bacteria, but they also kill the good bacteria in the large intestine, leading to diarrhea. What would this show be if we didn't talk about diarrhea? At least,
yeah, really.
Seriously, people, who knew I was going to be doing this? Physicians could help patients avoid this problem by prescribing probiotics. The effects of probiotic doses are short-lived, so they should be taken throughout your course of antibiotic therapy. And probiotics do not diminish the effectiveness of antibiotics. That's good to know. All right, the Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking news. Number 3. A Swedish study says physical activity during youth may help reduce fracture risk in old age. Is that a shock or is it a crock?
I'm going to say that's shocking.
I'm agree. I'm going to say shock.
You got it right. That is true.
Wow.
So I guess it's not really much of a shock because exercise interventions in childhood may be associated with lower fracture risks as people age due to the increase in peak bone mass that occurs in growing children who perform regular physical activity. So kids, put down your cell phones, step away from the TV, go outside and run around.
Stay away from the brownies.
You kids, what do you guys think of that?
I think that's what they need to do.
I agree. You got to get out there, got to get active.
Absolutely, kids. All right. The Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking news. Number 4. Sugar-sweetened sodas, sport drinks, and fruit drinks may be associated with about 80,000 deaths around the world each year. What do you think, shock or crock?
Sadly, I'm going to say shock.
I'm going to agree with that. That's that's true.
And you know what? It's a crock. Oh. And you know why? Because the number is higher. Oh.
Oh, wow. What is the number?
The real number is 180,000.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Sugar-sweetened beverages are consumed throughout the world and contribute to excess body weight, which increases the risk of developing diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and some cancers. According to the research presented at the American Heart Association's 2013 scientific sessions, Mexico, one of the countries with the highest per capita consumption of sugary beverages in the world, had the highest death rate overall due to these drinks.
That's shocking.
That is shocking. So bring on the water, people. Okay, you ready for the Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking news? Number 5. A homeless man has been caught living in a hospital pretending to be a doctor. Oh, is that a shock or a crock?
I'm going to say that's shocking.
Yeah, that's shocking, but a crock?
Is that a crock, a shocking crock?
I think so.
It is a shock.
Wow.
The man was discovered in a Louisville, Kentucky hospital wearing scrubs, a lab coat, and a surgical mask.
Wow.
But it gets worse. He was logged onto a hospital computer when he was spotted. An employee staff member had been fooled by the homeless man and mistakenly gave him access.
Wow.
You got to be careful where you go.
Wow is right. All right. Are we ready for the last Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking news number 6?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, you guys. A New York man was billed $44,776,587 for an outpatient visit to a hospital to treat pneumonia. Is that a shock or a crock?
I hope it's a crock. I'm going to go with crock.
I'm going to go with shock.
Okay, well, it sounds like a crock.
Wow.
But it is a shock.
Oh, no.
It's true, and here's why. The error occurred because the company that prepares the bill had mistakenly put the invoice number in the space where the amount should go. Wow, that would be enough to give that guy a heart attack, right?
Oh, if I got that bill, I would be freaking out.
Absolutely.
It causes your blood pressure to jump out of the side.
Yeah, really.
Well, so the moral of the story, keep track of all procedures, get copies of your medical records, and pay attention to your bills. Well, thanks, guys, for playing.
Shocking news from around the world.
Do we like this game?
Wow. Oh, I like this one a lot.
Do you like it, Bobby?
Oh, that's good.
All right. We'll have to keep coming up with more shocks or crocks, right?
That was very fun. I love this game.
Well, hey, listeners, if you hear any shocking news we should hear, let us know.
Email us.
Email us. That's right. At speakupandstayalive.com. Well, coming up, more of what you've come to expect from America's favorite healthcare and hospital survival radio show. Speak Up and Stay Alive, RadiOh.
Wow!
Once again, we have my friend Elizabeth Bailey with us, and she is ready to share some valuable patient safety checklists with us found in her book, The Patient's Checklist. Listen as Elizabeth spends the next 2 minutes with us to share some of her easy-to-use checklist tips and tools. Thanks for being here, Elizabeth. Tell us, what are some important questions to ask your surgeon before you go to the hospital?
If you have time, of course, to have a pre-op meeting before you go to the hospital, here are some simple questions I think everyone should ask. What is the goal of this surgical procedure or treatment? What are the risks? What are the benefits? What are the alternatives? Are there typical reactions and side effects to the surgery, anesthesia, or medication that you might experience that it's helpful to know about ahead of time so you can be prepared? How can you expect to feel in the first few hours, the first few days? What will recovery be like? When will you know the actual outcome of the surgery? Right away, in a few days? Will you be given an antibiotic 1 hour prior to your surgery to help prevent infection? That's a really important question. Some other key questions are, how available will your surgeon be to you and your family in the hours immediately following surgery? Who is going to be the hospital point person for you in the recovery room after surgery? The surgeon, a nurse, a resident? How can your family contact the surgeon if they have any questions or feel that something is not right while you're in recovery? So I think it's really important to get phone numbers, pager numbers, and emails to contact your surgeon and their staff. But these are all important questions to get answers to so that you're better prepared going in.
Great advice all the time. We appreciate having you here. Where can our listeners find out more about you, and how can they contact you?
Go to my website, which is thepatientschecklist.com.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing your simple hospital checklist with us as a way to keep us safe, sane, and organized.
Thank you very much for having me.
And remember, folks, visit our website, thepatientschecklist.com.
Tired of the same old presentations?
Can you forward to slide 38, please?
Are you looking for a new, out-of-the-box topic for your next event? Want your group to leave inspired, informed, and satisfied? No PowerPoint presentations and dim lights here. No snoring or snoozing goes on during Pat's presentations. To help your entire group, organization, business, or church stay safe during any healthcare or hospital experience, invite Pat to speak. Her presentation formats vary from 15-minute small talks to 30-minute lunch and learns, to 1-hour events called The Scoop, to full days. Pick a topic from her website or request your own. Visit her website, speakupandstayalive.com, or call Pat to discuss how she can make your next event fun, enlightening, and life-saving. Want testimonials? Go to the bulletin board link at the website for color pictures and comments from real people. Again, it's speakupandstayalive.com, or call 440-725-5462. That's 440-725-5462. And now, back to the show.
You're listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive, Patient Safety Radio. I am Pat Rouleau, your hostess and author of the book, Speak Up and Stay Alive, The Patient Advocate Hospital Survival Guide. And it's available at all of our live speaking events or at our website, speakupandstayalive.com. That's where you can also locate radio show times, dates, and station information. That's speakupandstayalive.com. And if you want to purchase the book but do not have internet access, it's okay to call me. Lots of folks order the book by phone, so just give me a call, 440-725-5462. And now, let's take a peek at the Speak Up and Stay Alive calendar. As you know, we offer live speaking events to groups, clubs, organizations, churches, as well as hospital and healthcare-related groups. And here's a few upcoming ones that are open to the public, and that means you are invited. And of course, our events are free. Our next event will be held in Geauga County, Ohio, at a group called Leadership Geauga. and it will be held at Notre Dame in the auditorium. The address is 13,000 Auburn Road in Chardon, Ohio. And that event will be on Tuesday evening, September the 17th, from 7 o'clock to 8:30. So mark your calendar for that, as I will be speaking about healthcare and hospital hazards and how you can avoid them. Then the next week, also on a Tuesday, September the 24th, I will be the speaker at St. Francis of Assisi Church, located at 6850 Mayfield Road in Gates Mills, Ohio, and that will be at noon. And at both of those events, you can also purchase signed copies of my book, Speak Up and Stay Alive, The Patient Advocate Hospital Survival Guide, along with other life-saving goodies that we have to offer. Plus, most importantly to me, I'd love to meet you. These events are always a fun opportunity to get to know my listeners and for them to share some of their stories with me. So, mark your calendars for Tuesdays, September the 17th and September 24th. And if you would like for me to speak to your group, that would be a great idea. Call me at 440-725-5462 or email speak@speakupandstayalive.com. Well, today we talked about CAT scans and how some locations encourage you to subject your body to unnecessary doses of radiation in the name of preventive wellness care. Let's just give you a quick scan to make sure nothing's wrong. Meantime, the unneeded radiation can perhaps cause a future problem due to the cumulative effects of lifelong radiation. Not sure how that makes any sense. My suggestion is to use CAT scans for diagnostic purposes only when you and your physician believe it is the only tool available to do the job required. Once again, it's up to you to know the risks and the rewards of any test prescribed. You have the right to understand, and you always have the right to refuse. And on a lighter side, we had Darrel Hicks with us today to answer some important questions about restroomology. He settled the common debate of paper towels versus hand blowers. Darrel has so much additional and usable information in his free book, Infection Prevention for Dummies, and you can get this book at his website, darrelhicks.com, DARRELHICKS.com. Or you can call him to order the book, 314-956-1177. Now, if you missed some of today's show, or you just want to share it with friends, we've made it easy for you to hear it again. You simply go to the radio link at the speakupandstayalive.com website and click the link with today's date. That's where you can also purchase the book, Speak Up and Stay Alive, The Patient Advocate Hospital Survival Guide. I tell you this all the time, but I'm always shocked at how many people tell me that they take the book with them to the hospital, or they bring it as a gift to a friend in the hospital. Simply lay it on the tray table, and how that generates such positive conversations with the healthcare staff. Now, at a glance, they know that you are an E-patient. Remember, we talked about an E-patient a few weeks ago. E stands for empowered and educated. So, if you do not have a copy, I really do encourage you to have one. And again, as I said, if you don't have internet access, it's okay to call me and order by phone. Many folks get the book this way. Plus, I always enjoy talking to our listeners. Call me directly, 440-725-5462. And if you order today, I'll even throw in some free icebreaker cards. Those are business-sized cards that you can hand to your doctor or nurse as a quiet but powerful way to remind them to wash their hands before they touch you. It's actually quite cool to be an E-patient. With this handy little card, now your healthcare providers know that you are equipped to make sensible decisions, and they will be more likely to treat you just a little bit better than the guy or gal in the next room. How do I know this? Because I try it for myself every time I go to the doctor or whenever I take my mom. So, be a cool E-patient. Get a copy of the Speak Up and Stay Alive book and the free icebreaker cards. And as usual, I want to take a brief moment to thank all of our radio sponsors and weekly guest experts, because thanks to them, we are here, and that helps keep you and me safe. We have Schraff & King, attorneys for all of your advanced planning needs in Willoughby Hills, Ohio. Darrel Hicks, consultant and author of the book Infection Prevention for Dummies. Generation America, the AARP Alternative. Elizabeth Bailey, author of The Patient's Checklist, and Junction Auto Family in beautiful Chardon, Ohio. I get all of my Jeeps at Junction Auto. I encourage you to support these fine folks, and you can find their information at the speakupandstayalive.com website. Oh, and be sure to listen next week as we continue to share little-known patient safety ideas for you and your loved ones. So mark your calendars, set your alarms, and call a grandparent. You don't want to miss America's favorite patient safety radio show next Saturday morning, where you can find us in Cleveland, Ohio, from 7 to 8 Eastern on AM 1420 WHK, and from 9 to 10 Eastern on AM 1220 WHKW, and also from 9 to 10 Eastern on AM 1440 WHKZ. Or you can always listen live via the internet from anywhere in the world. Check the speakupandstayalive.com website to find out how. Start your week with an O. Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. In the meantime, I hope you have a healthy and a happy week. I am Pat Rouleau, and I am your guide to safe and successful healthcare and hospital encounters.
The information provided in today's broadcast is for informational purposes only and was not intended for use as diagnosis or treatment of a health problem and should not be considered as medical advice. If you've missed part of today's show or just want to share the information with friends, you can listen to all of Pat's previous shows at speakupandstayalive.com. Want even more information? Purchase a copy of Pat's book at speakupandstayalive.com. Once again, it's speakupandstayalive.com. Or you can call Pat at 440-725-5462. Until next week, remember, it's okay to ask others to wash their hands. You have to speak up and stay alive. Brought to you by Generation America, the smart and traditional 50-plus membership organization. And they provide a full range of benefits to members. If you're looking for a quality Medicare supplement, their rates are lower than the other 50-plus organization 3 out of 4 times. Generation America. To join and to find out more, visit generationamerica.org.